All right, our first problem in homework, if you look on page 603, and you look at number 1 there, it says y equals 2x squared minus 24x plus 40. And it says write each equation in standard form, so we're going to do that here in a second. Identify the vertex, axis of symmetry. Don't worry about the axis of symmetry. We're not going to be testing on that. You can just forget about that. And direction of opening, so whether it's opening up, down, left, or right, okay? So if you look at number 1, I have it written on the board here, y equals 2x squared minus 24x plus 40. Now I'm probably going to be using some vulgarity here where we have to complete the square. And I know how much you absolutely love completing the square. So let's run through how to do this problem. And we don't have to complete the square, or we don't have to worry about it in a second. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's move 40 over, because when you complete the square, you bring c to the other side. Then you take your value in front of x squared. That has to be 1. If it's not 1, then you have to GCF out whatever value that is. In this case, I had to GCF out a value of 2 because the number in front of x squared was not 1. If it's 1, then you don't have to worry about this step. Okay? Then your formula is you take this part right here and you complete the square. So I'm going to take my b value in there, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. And remember, I add that to both sides to balance out my equation. Okay, so our value is negative 12, so I'm going to take negative 12, I'm going to divide it by 2 and square it. So that's going to be negative 6 squared, which is 36. So I'm going to add 36 to this side. Now, that's not what I'm going to add to the other side, because this is actually 72 on the right. So if this is 72 on the right, I'm going to add 72 over here. Okay? So now I've got y plus 32 is equal to 2. And remember, this is going to factor down to be the same thing twice. So if I factor this, this is going to become x minus 6 times x minus 6, or another way to write that is x minus 6 squared. And then to get y by itself, I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. And once y is by itself, it's in standard form. Now, first thing they're asking for is find the vertex. Actually, standard form is first, so that's standard form right there. So that's part of my answer. Vertex. My vertex would be whatever's beside the x, so this number, the opposite, so 6, and then this number would be negative 32. Okay, so that's my vertex. We don't have to graph it. Okay, so that's why it's pretty normal. All right, and the other thing they're asking it for is it opening up, down, left, or right? Well, this is y positive, so if I look at an xy axis, okay, this would be x positive, x negative, y positive, y negative. So if it's y positive, it's going to be pointing up, like the y positive points up. All right, so I would say this one points up. And there are my answers for number 1. Okay, 3 is done the same way, as is 15, as is 17, as is 19.